Back to class, and this is the continuation on Surds. In the previous video we already discussed simplification of a single surd or a single surdic number. So in this video I just want to show you how you can go from what we got when we simplified, how you can go from that back to a single surd, because sometimes we also do that when we are solving a source. Practically, when you cut down a piece of cloth, okay, when you see a fashion designer cutting down clothes into pieces, it will be as if the cloth is a waste already. But there is a way they can also sew it back and make it look fashionable, and it will become just a whole. So we can go from a whole to pieces, and we can come back from pieces to a whole. That's what I'm actually saying. So in the last video we look at the example of 128, and that gave us 8 root 2, and the second one that we did was root 27, which also gave us 3 root 3, and the third one was root 125, which gave us 5, okay, root 5. So the example we want to look at now is that they can tell us that write the following as a single surd. So they can tell us to write a simplified form of a surdic number. They can ask us to write it as a single surd. Not that the question may come out like that, but we may need that skill in going back and forth when we are solving questions. So because sometimes we may combine some basic surds to form a bigger surd that would help us in simplifying that kind of a single surd. So when we get to addition, subtraction, majorly you're going to see this. But let's look at the skill now. So write the following as a single surd. The first one, 8 root 2. The second one, 3 root 3. This is 3. Okay. And the third one is actually 5 root 5. So let's see how we can actually take this back to what we have as the initial question in the previous video. So solution. The first one is 8 root 2. So immediately you can split this into 8 times root 2, of course, just like we are reversing what we did. And then think of the number, a perfect square whose square root will give you 8. What is that number whose square root will give you 8? That number is what? Root 64. It's actually root 64 that gave us what? 8. So now 8 can become root 64. So it's the same thing. If I write root 64, it means what? 8 times root 2 that I have left here. And then I can combine that using the basic rule of multiplication. That will be 64 times 2, and 64 times 2 will give me 128. So you can see we are back to 128 as the question that they gave us. So we can go from that back to root 128. And the second one, we can be faster than the first question now. Okay, so this will be 3 times root 3. This will be root 9 times root 3, because it is what? Root 9 that will give me 3. I hope you understand that. It is this root 9 that is equivalent to this 3. Square root of 9 is 3. So I can combine that to be 9 times 3. Okay, that will be what? Root 27, which is what I have here, root 27. And the third one is actually 5 root 5, the same way. 5 root 5 becomes 5 times root 5, okay, and that's root 25. That's the square root of a perfect number. That will give me 5 is what square root of 25 times 5, and then I can have root 25 times 5, combine them together, multiplication basic rule, and then when you have 25 times 5, that will give me root what 125, and I'm back to what root 125. So this is how you can go to and fro, okay, when it comes to simplification of surds. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.